planning work. It's part of the key communication for architects and planners. It's just what you do. The visualization aspects are not trivial. If you can't communicate your proposals to people, you tend not to get paid very much. We used City Engine in particular on our Iraqi master planning projects a while back now, probably 4 or 5 years back, as an alternative way of modeling large-scale urban areas very quickly instead of using something like SketchUp. So that's really where we've come at it from, and we found that our design iterations have been dramatically sped up by this tool. And it's allowed us to produce a number of different outputs for different purposes. After all, if you think about it, you can read a 200-page PDF without any images, or you can have a look at some images with those words, and it'll convey the message better. So here it comes down really to why we're doing it, why we're using City Engine. You could take 4 days to model something in SketchUp, or half a day in City Engine once you've set it up right. We can produce scenarios you can flip between for clients and go quite large with these projects. But we haven't really changed too much of our workflows and our software. We've added City Engine to the mix, but what really has changed in the GIS sense is how we organize our field attributions and file names and things, so that when we drag it into City Engine, we can run it very quickly. We are also using our existing 3D modeling and architectural models as well. So we're not really throwing anything away. We're just adding speed and our capabilities in-house. This is one of our earliest projects, City Engine projects. It was for the city of Redding, California, for a company called Vestra. But they were looking at some highway issues in the town. There was no 3D modeling other than a couple of buildings within the town centre. This is just pure GIS data, terrain data, and City Engine used to texture it and mix it up. One of our result proposals we're working on at the moment, early models we're giving to clients, is things like this web scene where you can swipe between scenarios and peel back really the data that's underneath. So here you can see contour data, but on the other side you can see the satellite imagery. It's kind of important to get a feel for the site. So yeah, we're looking at a range of products. I can see on the chat that some of you are having things are breaking up a little. Sorry about that. If you want to have a direct line with me later, please let me know. Here's a result proposal again we're very quickly and early on in the process doing 3D modeling, not at later stages. We've also been working with Philadelphia University's Geodesign Master's Program and helping them with their technical side of City Engine and the workflows associated with architectural and planning practices. And so you can produce a wide range of products from it. Here's a project we did for the Abu Dhabi's Urban Planning Council. It's a large City Engine project which was essentially a range of documentation on how to implement and embed 3D workflows within their environment, their workspace. And it allows them to take 2D master planning data with, say, land uses and height and zoning attribution and visualize them in new ways. It's a sort of a new way of taking the existing data you have and doing something interesting with it. But we also get, as part of this, and this is the power of City Engine, we can do reporting. So not only can we say how many floors a building has, but we can report back in real time a range of land uses and GFA and FAR calculations as well. And I'll show you that in a little bit with a live demo. I don't want to bore you too much with a PowerPoint. I quite like to show you this one before I sort of exit out. This is London. We did this for Esri UK, but it's the largest 3D model I've ever done. It's in ArcGIS Pro. You can analyze all the buildings. There's a large section using CyberCity 3D data in the center, and then Ordnance Survey master maps heighted data extruded out, and then from that it's the whole of Greater London OpenStreetMap extrusions as well. But it's a beautiful model that's come together, and we've a lot of different techniques to get here. But I think we've been really proud of the outcomes on that. And this last one, really, this is one of the latest projects. We're working with Durham City Council, which has a World Heritage Site, which is the Cathedral and Castle. It's an absolutely beautiful place, and I went there for university. But the planning department has a range of applications and proposal sites coming up in the near future, and they wanted a new way of visualizing these developments and analyzing. So this is what we've been helping with recently. This last scene here, if you can see the trees there, I hope I haven't been skipping through them too quickly. That's 94,000 trees modeled in 3D plus real 3D models from CyberCity hosted on ArcGIS Online. And this is really the future. We're seeing a lot of work and people
Okay, Elliot, we're not able to hear you right now, but we can still see your screen. And I know that you wanted to give us a demo of CityEngine. I wonder if maybe you could leave and come back, and maybe that'll work. Not sure what else to suggest. All right, yeah, it looks like Elliot's gonna leave and come back. In the meantime, oh, okay, so he's already back.
Hello, can anyone hear me?
Yes, can hear you loud and clear now.
I do apologise. It seems the audio cut off. And I seem to still be sharing the screen with you, but there doesn't appear to be a way of. Can we reset the screen share?
Yes.
Where did you all get to?
Let's see. Let me see if I can get you back.
Do you remember where I got to?
Lots and lots of trees. 90,000 trees.
Okay, that's fine. I haven't got too far.
All right. I'm trying to not show my screen.
Yeah. Become the presenter to start sharing your screen. Apologies, people.
I'm not. This is weird. Oh, I see. Because I've got you on here twice. So.
Okay.
Here we go.
There we go. Hooray!
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Let's see. Okay, am I back?
Yep.
Does everyone see me? 90,000 trees. Right. Here's the model of 90,000 trees, hosted on ArcGIS Online, and it's one of the
Oh, we lost you again there.
more interesting projects we've been on. I hope you heard the rest of that. But this is the Has my audio gone out again? I do not know.
Okay.
So I'll share with you my screen. Can everyone see window now with CityEngine.
Yes.
Can everyone see CityEngine on
Yes,
there?
we can see it.
Okay. Good. I'm sorry about the audio. What I'm going to do, while I've still got audio, is I'm going to show you the power of CityEngine to take a 2D representation of, say, a footprint and create a 3D model which has attribution but also a dynamic feedback about land uses or whatever we want it to. So in this case, I'm going to take a block here. This is just a 2D footprint. It's very boring, I know. And we're going to drag a rule file I've created. It's intriguingly called the Geodesign rule file. And this was something I did for the planners at Abu Dhabi's Urban Planning Council. Now, if I take and extrude this, you can see it's starting to create floors. Can everyone see that? We've also got a dashboard here which gives us a reporting function. And so I can change and add land uses to particular floors, and it will report back the GFA on that. Okay? I think my internet connection is flaking out a little. So what this means is I can design somewhat similar to what I do with SketchUp and get reporting and feedback off of that. Okay? So we're using this as part of the process, so getting blocks and introducing new ways of working with some built-in intelligence. The next block, one I've been working on recently, is a way of interactively taking a 2D footprint and here we have something called handles that allows us to interact without adjusting code. And this allows us to program some procedural rules for other people to use within CityEngine, and they can adjust various attributes and aspects of the model, creating 3D, but also getting live feedback. Okay? And this is why we're using CityEngine within the design process. Okay, it's a very small building here, but I think you get the idea. Gretchen, did you see that all okay?
Yeah, that looked great, Elliot. Thanks. I've actually
so.
never seen CityEngine before, so this was a really good little introduction for me.
Yeah. So essentially, this geometry is created by a rule file, and the rule file looks a bit like this. It looks a bit like Python coding. And the beauty of this is you can use it on multiple footprints. So if you have an entire city of footprints, this is what you can do with it. Okay. And I think I better leave it there, Gretchen, because I know I've taken too much of people's time. And I'm sorry about the audio and the video issues.
Not at all. I'm so glad that we got it worked out there. Thanks so much for presenting, Elliot. That was awesome. I'm going to leave questions to the end so that we can hear Katie. And then we'll ask questions. Not sure if Elliot will be still on, but we all know him on Twitter, I think, so we can ping him there for more questions too. So, Katie, are you ready to present?
Yeah, sure am. Do you want to make me a presenter?
Yes, so just give me 1 second on that.
No worries. All right, is everyone able to see my screen?
Yes.
Great. I'm just going to get started. So I'm Katie. I work at MapZen as a developer advocate on the product team, which I'll explain a little bit more in a bit. I tweet a lot. I talk about maps. I carry sriracha. I live in San Francisco. So while Elliot gets to drink beer, I'm drinking coffee because it's still kind of early in the morning. Uh, so like I said, I work with MapZen. We're about a 45-person team in, we have offices in New York, San Francisco, Lancaster, Pennsylvania, people that work remotely. And what we do is we build every different part of a mapping platform that you would need using completely open source technology and data. So we offer everything from maps to search and mobility services to various data products. And starting with search, we have a nice geocoder that is built off of OpenStreetMap and open addresses data. And it's really great. We can add in basic functions like autocomplete and reverse geocoding. So right here, we can just have it autocomplete to our New York headquarters and be able to click on it. And we also offer turn-by-turn, which is a routing service. If you see here, we're able to do multimodal transit. We can do biking. Our biking offers opportunities to put in elevation and speed. So, if you are programming a biking app in San Francisco, you're going to really want to take into account hills, for instance. Since there's very few parts of the city I can actually bike in from my neighborhood because it's completely surrounded by giant hills. We also offer driving and walking. And then the fun, showy part that I really, really like focusing on since I come from a cartography background is our mapping. We offer base maps that are able to be inserted into Leaflet through our plugin Maps.js. And we have beautiful ones designed by Nathaniel Von Kelso and Geraldine Sarmiento, who are Stamen alumni. So we offer ones that are beautiful, and hopefully this should be switched up. There we go. We have some great black and white maps, some terrain. Our newest version is Tron, which I'm super excited about. You should check out the blog post about it. It's really, really exciting. I'll show this in full view. Tron is built off of our map renderer called Tangram, which is using WebGL. And it's so exciting. Like you guys are saying in the comments, it adds animation, all these beautiful details at zoom levels. So, you can see traffic that's being added. Unfortunately, it's not real traffic, it's just theoretical traffic. But you could, since there aren't really open source traffic sources right now, you could plug it into a closed traffic source to animate that in real time if you wanted. And as you zoom in, you get the really, really cool building renderings in 3D. Some of my favorite features are when you go to London, and because OSM puts in the way that people drive on which side of the road, that really cool animation is being changed to the right side of the street, or the left side of the street, I suppose, which is really cool to see. And that's something we were freaking out about. And you can hear my fan going on my computer because this is using WebGL, which we're trying to break our computer's fans and graphics cards to the finest of its extent. So I'm going to close that. And this is all done possible, like I mentioned, through Tangrammer Renderer, and we have an editor called Tangram Play that lets you, look in, and this is one of our styles preloaded. So I'll zoom in on, the country. San Francisco is always a really great opportunity for terrain, since, it's surrounded by all these beautiful mountains, which again makes it hard to bike in. But yeah, and as you can see, there's all these beautiful details being added on, and like coming from cartography and working at UW-Madison's cartography lab, this was like one of my favorite things to join this team. So going forward, what I specifically do as a developer advocate, like I mentioned, I work on the product team, which is the front end part of our company. So we're the ones that are building documentation, building tutorials, demos, talking, and so I work on a lot of constant improvements. Like I said, I come from cartography, so I understand how to explain things that maybe, someone from an engineering standpoint may not be able to understand. And I work on a lot of getting started and tutorial on-ramping, user research. GoToMeeting is pretty familiar to me. I run a lot of user testing using this. And yeah, I also get to do pretty fun projects too, besides writing tutorials and documentation and making maps. I worked on a zine about how geocoding and search works that if you guys were at State of the Map US, you got copies of, hopefully. I'll be making more as I have some time, but life has been pretty busy lately. I'll also be talking at NASIS next week about vector tiles and how we can do really awesome mapping with that. And yes, Jim, you're right. Zines are coming back. Some of my biggest heroes in tech make these really awesome zines, so I'm glad we can be among them. And so yeah, if you want to start with Mapzen, everything's free in the open. You just need to use a GitHub account to sign up, and our rate limits are pretty generous, and if you are ever to go above that, we are happy to talk and maybe extend it. We just want to see what people are working on. And if you've never made a web map before, I would love for you to try our Make a Web Map demo, or if you're someone who's been building web maps since before they were cool, I would also love to see how you approach that as well. Yeah, any questions?
Thanks, Katie. Tron is pretty awesome.
I know. I am always delighted to see whatever Geraldine's working on her part of the office. It was magic and mapping at the same time, so the best of everything.
Was it just Geraldine, or was it a team? Like how did you guys? How do you create one of those?
Yeah, so Geraldine is our cartographic designer. She works with Nathaniel von Kelso on the cartography team, where they are designing all the base maps. But for Tron in particular, she worked with Patricio. Let me bring up his Twitter. Patricio is a god among men when it comes to graphics card shaders. He has literally written the book on it, and so they work together on this map, trying to add in all these different graphics card programs called shaders. And the blog goes really into detail about it, and for anyone who's ever designed base maps, you kind of have to start. It's a hard process designing base maps for the web now, more so than I think ever making maps for print ever were, just because you have to not only think about what you want at one scale, but up to like 18 scales. And they do a really good job of showing how they created first visual qualities and basic elements of features that they really want added, and what Geraldine calls visual vocabulary, which is a great term for that. And you start at this full zoom 0, and then you just have to keep on adding every point in, and you can see, the water transformation from, zoom 0 all the way down to zoom 18 and 19. This isn't showing that this actually becomes animated, however, I think when it gets to this point, which is just so fantastic. And you can see it right here, actually. And so, yeah, it's magic. Yeah, and I think also a lot of this comes from, having the expertise of people that have been designing base maps since, 2006, since we had to hack Google Maps' API in order to make our own custom styles, and now we live in a glorious world of different vector and raster tile options.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I think that since this is going pretty well, I want to extend us 10 minutes. We've got one more speaker. It's going to be the Mapsmith. And let's see. So does anybody have any more questions for Katie, though, before we move on to the Mapsmith? All right, we're going to move on. Let's see. So I think I'll change the presenter over. All right, Stephen Smith, are you around?
Yeah, so can you hear me now?
All right, we can hear you now, yeah.
Great, and you can see, thanks Gretchen.
Yep, all right.
Well, thank you all so much. This is so cool, Gretchen. Thanks for putting this together. I think this is such a really fun concept. It really takes all of the stress and worry and travel and time out of sharing ideas with each other, and really lowers the barriers. But just on a lark, I asked Gretchen if there's any slots left, and about 20 minutes before, she was like, "Yeah, sure. Do you want to talk?" And I was like, "Oh no, now I have to come up with something." So Elliot, Katie, thank you. That was cool to see that stuff. That City Engine, I hadn't dug into that yet. I keep seeing like the little demos at the Esri conferences, and now I could see why it's so interesting. And Katie, that maps and stuff, I really wish I had more time to play around with it. It's certainly high on my list. Maybe I'll send you a note and see how I can get started with that. So about me, I go by the Mapsmith. You can call me Steven, Steve, whatever you want. My thing is maps, hence the name, and most of our thing. So just a warning, this has been made about 20 minutes ago, so I figured I could talk about a couple different topics for about 60 seconds each. That's about enough that I can come up with in 20 minutes. So the first one, sort of a design thing, is talking about the color black. You might notice, depending on how this is coming through, that I didn't use black and white here. I intentionally went with my brand colors. Because my position is to don't use black in your designs. Don't use pure black for your text, for your titles, for your borders, anything. Because on your computer screen, black is when your pixel is off. Like each individual pixel is off, and then it's like this pure black color. But really, there's no black around you. Whenever you look at something, whenever you're looking at shadows, whenever you're looking at even maybe the black bezel on your screen, there's still light reflecting off of it, and your eye isn't perceiving a complete absence of color. It's perceiving some sort of shade of gray. So I would suggest that in your designs to not use black for that reason, because it's unnatural and it doesn't feel right when we see it. I may notice it more because I think about design so often, but when you take the time to turn away from the defaults, don't make your text perfectly black, people notice, even if it's a really subtle thing. So this lovely screenshot I stole from Google Images has been cut off, but just one box above it in the Esri color picker is 80% black. Yeah, that's a good one to go with. I like 333 as the hex color for a dark gray. It's almost imperceptible, but there is a difference, and I think it'll make a big impact in your design. Okay, that was pretty quick. So the next thing I want to talk about is skills. So a lot of geo-focused people, and I'm going to talk more about cartographers specifically. My position is that they need to have lots of skills and a variety of skills. I'm not saying they need to be perfectly proficient in everything or a master, but they need to be exposed to and I would say tinker with many different things. So Katie, unfortunately, to varying degrees of success, this is my list of things that I kind of do that I could think about. My day job is doing Esri, but I tinker a lot with all the different open source mapping platforms. I like to tinker with non-geo stuff like icon design, typography, illustration, web design. I design my website myself from scratch, play with the different JavaScript libraries, web development, process design, writing. So I suggest that as a geo person, as a cartographer, that you expose yourself to a ton of things. A colleague of mine here at work has been doing Arc Desktop for 30 years, and that's great, and he's the best desktop person there is, and he holds the keys to some of our most important data sets. But personally, I would suggest you do different things and be familiar with them so that you could be conversant with others. So even if you haven't played with MapZen products, if you play with Mapbox products, then you're familiar with what a GL rendered base map is and what are the limitations and the strengths of it. How do you build that into an app? Just get a sense of these things so that when you converse with people across the spectrum, because unless you're full stack, you're going to be coordinating with other people. You're going to need to understand a lot of things. Okay, and so the last thing I want to talk about is networking. So the 20 people in the room today, we're doing something brave and bold. We're stepping out. We're being outgoing, and we're putting ourselves out there, and we're meeting people. So now we've all shared this experience together of having this little mini conference, and I really think that that's super powerful. And so Gretchen's made the conference experience accessible from home if you're having beer or coffee. But if you can't do that, use social media. I see a lot of value, especially in our industry and in this sort of web technologist developer type space of Twitter being a really big place to meet. So do that. Have chats with people on direct messages. Send people an email and say, hey, I like your stuff. Can you help me with something? Don't be afraid to ask questions. Find a Slack community. I'm an admin of the spatial community. Just send me a note and I'll invite you right away. You could join 1,400 other geo geeks and just geek out in a specific channel topic that you're interested in. Just get to know people. Get to know me. Send me a message. I like all of you already, just because you make maps and you understand how spatial that is. So I like to get in touch with people. I like to collaborate with people, answer questions, work together on something. So that's as fast as I can go. But if I just have another second, I'm interested in reviewing people's maps cartographically. Think of it like as a graphic editor or a cartographic editor. This is something that's just sort of slowly been happening to me over the years online. People have been sending me their maps for questions, and I really enjoyed giving people feedback. So if you've got a map or a web app or something that you'd like me to take a look at, send me an email and I'd happily give you some feedback. The end.
Awesome. Thanks, Stephen. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Any
now
questions?
Jump back over to chat.
Any questions for Stephen? Hey, this is a pretty cool conference. I'm pretty excited. I just got pinged by Lena. She wants to present something, and I said, hey, sure, great. If we've got time, let's do it. So I'm actually going to throw the presenter over to Lena, and she's going to take a couple minutes to tell us what she's up to. Just a second. And again, this is totally off the cuff. I don't think she knew she was going to present today, so I'm excited to see what she's got for us.
Hi, I'm on here. I'm sitting in Denmark in my sofa with my 2 dogs, and I haven't been making any planning at all, but I'm not sure. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay. Right now you can see my small drone. I'm a lecturer at the University of Copenhagen in a small campus called Nødebo. I'm not sure if you know that one, but if you use QGIS, you will know Nødebo by now. And in my summer class, I gave lectures, and on the final case, they were actually using your book, Gretchen, yours and what's her name? Suddenly I can't remember. But here is just a few of the results. Our students made those beautiful maps, and that was just, yes, that was Anita Grazer. Thank you. Sorry, forgot the names. But as you can see, my student made beautiful map. This map was made from fantasy. That's a student who has been making maps since he was a kid. He asked, can I use QGIS to make my fantasy map for digital, and he made this. It was great, really. But this is what I'm working with right now. I have my small drone, Phantom, and with a Sequoia camera. You can see here a small camera below with 5 lenses from 500 to 800 nanometer, and an RGB camera, and up here a lumen sensor. We are flying with this drone above forestry. I come from a forestry college, and as you can see, it looks like this when we fly, and that's just normal pictures. But after putting all these data, yeah, that's trees, but putting all those data into a Pix4D mapper, I get a point cloud. Now the data has become just gray, old-fashioned black and white, and it's gray, but it's not an image, it's a point cloud. I use Fugro Viewer here so you can actually see the data. I made a 3D. This program is open, you can download it from fugro.com. But what is this Pix4D mapper? I put it for Pix4D mapper first to create the point cloud, yes. Here's in Fugro Viewer, you can see it in 3D. I can zoom in and I can zoom out. But what is much more fun is I can make a profile. And I simply make a small profile like this. The point cloud is just from the image. When I fly, I have an 80% overlap, and suddenly I can image the trees from the side, like this here. And I can also use the ruler to see how high the trees are. Actually, we are using this for measuring the trees, how they grow every year, to see how much they are growing. In Denmark, we are so lucky to have free and open data. We have LiDAR data, but it's not for every year, so we are having to create our own data. Okay, this is a point cloud. So after having it to the point cloud, I'll use QGIS, and I use the LAST tools here. So I create a LAST2DEM, and you can see the data here. It looks awful, but when you see it with the orthophoto, and here you can see it just with the DSM, which I can transform into a hillshade. And it looks like this. So in a second you will see the hillshade. That's not so cool. It actually looks a little bit funny. I'm going to calculate how many trees which are in this area here. But here I also have this. I just have to move this here. Yes, it's from Rapid Lasso. I use the LAST2DEM. It's incorporated into QGIS, so I can use the functionality inside QGIS. I open this small plugin which is called Profile, and just as in Fluke Viewer, which is only a viewer, I can here draw a line. I can see the trees and I can see the height of the trees here. So this is what I'm working on right now. It's the first step. I've just been having this data for 2 weeks, been doing a lot of other stuff, so this is what I'm going to use for this autumn. That was all from Denmark right now. Any comments?
Wow, I'm super impressed with everyone's ability to do extemporaneous speeches here today. Do we have any questions for Lena? Or for Katie? Elliot's left us. Katie, Stephen, Lena. Any questions?
If you want to know any further, please contact me on Twitter or on my email. The Twitter account is this Line_Fischer. So you're very, very welcome.
Thank you, everyone. Super appreciate that you jumped on board for this sort of experimental thing that we've got going on, and I hope that we can have another one of these and maybe even invite some more people if I spring for the more expensive GoToMeeting package, get up to 100 or something. So I have recorded most of this, although I missed out on a few minutes of Elliot's talk at the beginning, and I will try to make this recording available. So again, thanks for joining us, and hope to see you next time. Bye, everyone.